Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Today's video is the 7th in a series where I am taking episodes from American Horror Story Season 8 Apocalypse, and I am doing a get ready with me, kind of with autumnal looks a little bit, and am discussing the episode. In today's video I am using Charlotte Tilbury the Vintage Vamp palette. So if you'd like to see how I got this look and talk a little bit about this episode, which was not my favorite, please keep watching. All right, so the first segment is really just an exercise in showing that Dinah is the voodoo queen, and it's her working for a rich white woman, avenging the fact that her husband is cheating on her. And as she's leaving, Cordelia is there. Cordelia wants a meeting with Papa Legba. Then we have a commercial break and we're back with Bubbles McGee. Amazing. And not clear if this is Evie with her memory wiped or not. And she is an actress, an aging actress, and she's in a horror movie called A Christmas to Dismember. And we are at the craft services table and she hears the grip. She's reading his mind. Her life is probably really not what she had hoped that it would be. I'm gonna go in with this enhanced color with a fluffy brush. And yeah, so she's reading his mind, and then Madison Montgomery comes in, and it's basically everything is super critical and Bubbles needs to come. She's been summoned by Cordelia. Then we're at a dinner with Madison and Myrtle and Bubbles, and it's clear that Bubbles and Myrtle knew each other at Miss Robichaux's. And so because Bubbles' skill is reading minds, they need her to go to Hawthorne to read the minds of Ariel and Baldwin. I'm gonna go in with the darker smoke color with a much more tapered brush. So Bubbles agrees to go to dinner. Then we are at, I believe we are at Cordelia's, and Dinah is summoning Papa Legba, and he comes. We see Nan, who we knew had been kind of sent to the afterlife, and she seems to be having a good time, which is nice. She's having fun in hell. Cordelia wants Papa Legba to open up kind of the gates of hell so she can get Michael in there and they can close it up. And Papa Legba wants all of the witch's souls. Gonna go in with Prime over my lid with a brush, and she says no. And it's interesting during this scene, the expression on Dinah's face seems kind of concerned in a way that I don't know that I was expecting. And Cordelia doesn't agree. Papa Legba and Nan leave, and then Dinah looks super worried and concerned and angry, and she yells at Cordelia that you had one chance and you blew it, and now not only will your girls die, so will 6 billion other people. So she's basically saying that Cordelia has not saved the world. I'm gonna go in with the pop color with my finger. Another commercial, and we are back at Miss Robichaux's, and Coco has a new power. And I think it's really annoying, this power that she has, but I also feel like maybe it's going to come to play in some other kind of important way. Still kind of holding out for that to happen. But I'm gonna go back in with this smaller brush and just blend a little bit. I'll actually add a little bit more of that smoke color just to deepen up that crease a little bit. So her new power is that she can determine how many calories are in something. They're all encouraging her, and again, I'm wondering if she's growing in a way, or if this power will come into play or make itself shown as being useful in some other way. So then, and this is also ridiculous, Queenie tries to trick her with the snowball. She's taken a portion of it out, and so when Coco's looking at it, she says that it's only, I think, 80 calories, which is not what a snowball would be in terms of calories. And it's just whatever. And then Coco takes some of the snowball and eats it, and she starts to choke. And then quickly, within like, I don't know, 30 seconds, and there's nothing happening that makes it seem like a lot of time is passing. It seems like it happens very quickly. And I'm pretty sure that the human body can stay alive for a decent amount of time after someone stops breathing. So, but all of a sudden she falls on the ground and Queenie says she's dead. So it's annoying that her death happens so quickly, and it's also annoying that none of these smart women think to use the Heimlich maneuver, trademark. I feel like when I took CPR and first aid that the Heimlich maneuver is trademarked. So whatever that maneuver is called when it's not trademarked. Obviously, this is all a frame for us to see and for Zoe to see that Mallory is very powerful. And Mallory does this really cool surgery thing on her neck and opens up her neck and takes out the snowball with her fingers. So then Coco is alive and she's been saved. And then we are up in Cordelia's room, Cordelia and Zoe, and Cordelia is very concerned, says that she doesn't think that she can fight in her current condition. Zoe says she doesn't think she's gonna have to. Cordelia thinks that she's fading because Michael is the next Supreme, but Zoe thinks that she's fading because Mallory is the next, and she thinks that there's someone in the house, that Mallory will be able to fix this. Then we are at Hawthorne with Myrtle and Bubbles, and Myrtle is playing the theremin, which I love. And they have made dinner for Ariel and Baldwin. It's a form of apology, and that's the way that they're able to get them to concede to come to dinner, because they're apologizing. And they ask where Michael is. Michael is in the wilderness alone, which is where they say that Cordelia is also. And that's convenient because obviously Bubbles would probably be able to read his mind and see that he's the Antichrist. So that's convenient that he's out. Then they're eating, and Myrtle starts talking about the wine that they got somewhere in Italy that was from Mussolini's cellar, I think. But as she's talking, this gives Bubbles some time to read their minds. And it's a little bit too convenient because the things that when I'm thinking, I mean, I guess this is how you have to do it in film. When I'm thinking, sometimes I think in complete sentences, but it's often just a giant jumble of words. And these are very distinct, slowly phrased sentences. That's the thing too, is that when I'm thinking, I think a lot more quickly than I can speak or I can type. So, but still, that's probably why everything is so clear, so she can hear it. And what she learns is that Baldwin hates them, and that they killed John Henry, that or were at least involved with it, that they're glad he's a pile of ash, and Ariel wants them all dead. And then Myrtle does a little spell to make them sleepy. Very easy for her to do. And the warlocks go to bed, and the witches say that they'll clean up. It's a little troubling that the witches are doing the cooking and the cleaning, but it's all in the interest of tricking and using these warlocks to kind of get information from them, so that's okay. And they say, kill or be killed. We'll tell Cordelia and we'll strike back together. Then there is another commercial, and we're back to the fourth segment. And now we're having dinner at Miss Robichaux's, and everybody's there of the witches that have been resuscitated and regrouped. Everybody's there but Misty Day. I'm not sure where Misty Day is. She was alive at the end of the episode that she was resurrected in, so I'm not sure where she is. But Mallory is kind of making a face at the table, and they ask her what's wrong, and Mallory says that she doesn't want to rise if it means that Cordelia has to fall. And Cordelia is very clear that this is just the way that it is, and don't feel weird about it or bad about it, and that there are still more tests to be passed. And they're all having a really fun time at the table. Behold is there too, and he can't believe that they are just whooping it up and having a good time with the rise of the Antichrist and all of this looming gloom and doom over their heads. And she says that they're celebrating because it's the last time that they might be together, and that she's not naive, and that she's known about this evil that they're facing for some time, and that it forced her to do something that she swore she'd never do, and then it almost killed her. And then we have a flashback to 2 years before the apocalypse, and we see her bring back Myrtle. And when Myrtle is kind of brought back, she's angry at Cordelia. She reminds Cordelia that Cordelia promised that she would never do that. And Cordelia says that she knows danger is coming, that she's crying, that she needs Myrtle's protection. She needs to know how to protect her girls, and she doesn't know how to. And then we're back in the present. I'm going to use the cream contour in the Naked Skin Shapeshifter palette. And this is a Sigma cream contour brush that I'm going to apply it with, and then I'll blend it with another brush. So then we're back in the present at Miss Robichaux's, and everyone is assembled at the table with the exception of Misty, and she says, now that we're united and ready, it's time to fire the first shot. And then the witches go to the gas station. So presumably they have all gotten onto an airplane and have flown there, because that's in Los Angeles, I think, outside of Los Angeles. Zoe does a spell to bring John Henry's ashes back. Mallory does a spell to bring his body back. And that scene is very similar to the Seven Wonders scenes that we saw in Coven, and that we also saw in this season when Michael was being tested. John Henry is disoriented, as you might imagine. He says that he was killed by a woman. We have another commercial break. The Balm Cabana Boy blush. So we are back in Miss Robichaux's, and it is Coco and Cordelia. And Cordelia needs something from Coco, and Coco says anything. And Coco was looking at a bowl of ice cream and calculating the calories probably, and decided not to eat them. And Cordelia says, I suspect your gift has more to offer. Rouge Money Rouge at Golcombe bronzer. And Cordelia says to Coco that she needs her to do something. And I don't think that this is the thing. I still think that there's probably something about Coco's powers that we haven't seen yet. And she needs her to go to capture Mead. Michael has an ally, a traitor, which is the name of the episode, and she needs to be eliminated. Hourglass Veil powder. So Coco goes to the grocery store, to the butcher counter, not to the butcher counter, but near it, and Mead is there, and she asks for some cloven hooves for that satanic zing. To go in with the Laura Geller Baked Duo in French Vanilla and Portofino. I'm just gonna grab both of those. And Coco comes to her car, and it looks like Coco's going to be thwarted, but it was all a trap for Mead, and Mead shoots her, but shoots her with a tranquilizer, and the bodyguards take Mead away and rescue Coco. We are then back at Hawthorne with Baldwin and Ariel has made this powder that he's been working on for his whole life, and when it's inhaled by females, they start to bleed from all of their pores. And we see a scene of kind of him imagining it, and it's all very terrible. And we don't yet know that it's only for women. He blows it on to Ariel, and Ariel freaks out, but that's when we learn that this is only something that affects women. Ariel says those bitches love to go on about how a warlock will never equal one of them. I wonder what they'd say now if they saw what you've done. And Cordelia and Myrtle come in, and Cordelia is laughing, and she says they'd say it was plagiarism. And it turns out that this concoction is something that a woman named Agnes Simpson made back in 1590. This concoction was the inverse, though. It was only something that impacted men. Unfortunately, Agnes was burned at the stake before she got a chance to use it, and it seems like you've made the same mistake. Ariel says, or maybe it's Baldwin, one of them says that her powers have waned, and then she, in this amazing scene, I don't know where her power's coming from, but she seals their mouths shut. And it reminds me of an episode of Buffy from season 1. I forget what it is. It might have been The Witch, and with the cheerleader and the cheerleader mother. And it's clear that she's very strong, and she's kind of laughing at them as she's doing it. It's still unclear to me if she's really totally losing her power, because she did seem a lot weaker before. But yeah, she's definitely showing some strength now. I'm gonna go in with ColourPop Snow White. I'll speed you through this. And then finally, we're outside with Baldwin and Ariel and Mead, and they're all tied up at the stake. Cordelia sentences them to death, but she says that there's this agreement between the warlocks and the witches that no witch may kill a condemned warlock, that they have to be killed by one of their own. And John Henry comes back, and everyone is just surprised. And he pours the gas on them, and he lights the torches. The bodyguards light the fire with the torches, but he's lit the torches. And Mead's kind of ranting about bearing witness to the darkness and all that stuff. And then everyone leaves, and the coven music is playing. So here's some final thoughts and questions. This episode didn't really give us very much. I suppose we're getting more confirmation. We did learn that John Henry was dead and he came back, but I wonder if that could have been done more quickly. I like Bubbles, but I didn't need that whole scene about her acting. So I don't know. This is not my favorite episode, and I feel like a lot of these seasons, there's a little bit of a lull right after the middle, and then it kind of picks up. So I'm hoping that the last few episodes come through. So these are my last kind of questions. One is about where's Misty Day? She came back and now she's gone, and I'm not remembering if we saw her leave or die again or something, but I'm not sure where she is. I'm wondering what's going to happen to the boys at Hawthorne. Now the only kind of leader there would be John Henry, and he's dead. He's been brought back, but not sure how that would work. Or Michael, which also would be weird. I am wondering about Coco, wondering if her powers, if we're going to see more about them. It just feels, if this is all that we're going to get from Coco's powers, feels a little bit anticlimactic. So I'm hoping that there's a twist that we aren't really seeing yet about Coco. Wondering about Bubbles. I'm really wondering if Bubbles is also Evie. I'm wondering how many of these people have had their memories kind of blocked out, and if they'll be resurrected again, because she presumably is still in the house. I don't know how long she's been dead, but I mean, if they can bring John Henry back from being burned up at a gas station, I would imagine that they'd be able to bring her back. And I'm also wondering about the apocalypse. We keep kind of going back to time before the apocalypse, but I'm wondering about that, and I'm wondering about, I mean, very quickly this became about warlocks and witches, but I wonder if the whole organization that was running things in the beginning, where the people that Venable was working for, who didn't necessarily seem satanic, I wonder what's happened with them. So I'm hoping that we get some things cleared up in hope we get all the things cleared up in the last episodes, but at least more cleared up moving forward. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. I'm definitely obviously going to be watching the rest of it, but I'm hoping that it kind of picks up a little bit. So thank you so much for watching. I'm really enjoying doing this, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying watching it. There's a lot to do in the world and a lot to do on YouTube, and it means a lot that you took some time to spend with me today. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.